Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Today we've got a brand new story to share with you. So let's begin. How much pain and humiliation can a man take before he finally snaps? I guess if you asked 50 different men, you'd probably get 50 different answers. I pondered that as I considered the headstone of the man buried in the grave before me. I didn't know him well at all. In fact, I had spent only a few hours with him, but those few hours forever changed my life. 7 years ago, I was in Cozumel on break from college. I had gone there with some of my buddies who promised great diving and partying. It was fun, and the diving was terrific. One night, however, I decided to spend a few quiet hours nursing a beer in one of the local bars. That's when he came up to my table. "Mind if I join you, young man?" he asked. He was an older man, appearing to be somewhere in his 60s, perhaps even a bit older. His eyes and his general countenance appeared to be of a man who had experienced a great deal of pain and hurt. Something about him seemed somewhat familiar to me. Since I was feeling a bit mellow and charitable, I invited him to join me. A smile creased his face as he extended his hand. "I'm Alan Jacobs," he said. I took his hand. "George Richardson." He sat down after we shook hands. "Yes, I know," he told me. "What?" I wondered to myself. What the hell is going on here? "How do you know who I am?" "Nothing sinister. I knew your dad. Served with him in Vietnam a long time ago. In fact, he saved my life once, along with quite a few other Marines. Got him the Medal of Honor, in fact." He took a worn photo out of his wallet and showed it to me. I had seen this photo before. A larger version of it hung in my dad's office when he was still alive. Alan pointed to some of the guys in the picture, all of whom wore military field uniforms. "This was your dad. Here I am." We called this guy Spider-Man because of his spindly frame. He may have looked small, but that boy could fight. He stopped and looked wistfully at the picture as though recalling a memory of old comrades. "Unfortunately, they're all gone now except for me." He looked back up at me after a few quiet moments. "So, is there someone special in your life? A fiancé or something?" I shook my head. "Not at the moment. I'm too focused on schoolwork right now, but I have been dating a few girls from time to time," I said. He nodded approvingly. "Good for you. Trust me, the worst thing you can do right now is get tied down to one woman. Chase them. Do what you gotta do, then broom 'em quick. Trust me on that." "You sound a little bitter," I said. "Are you married?" He snorted. "Technically, I am, but it's a joke, has been for years. I've given that woman the best years of my life, been faithful to her, adored and cherished her. And how does she repay me? By tricking me, cutting me off, cucking me, and humiliating me every chance she gets." Wow, I thought, this is one bitter dude. "Wanna hear the story?" he asked. What the hell, I thought. This could be interesting. Sure. He told me the story of how he and his wife Maggie like to go scuba diving in Mexico and other places on a whim. Something to break up the stress of the job. He told me how his wife, while somewhat frigid for years, was a very beautiful woman. From what Alan said, things went off the rails 2 years ago when they came down here to Cozumel. Apparently, there was some guy from Spain who managed to work himself into their relationship, obviously looking to bet his wife. And he was a son of a bitch at that. "Can you imagine the gall?" Alan said. He looked right at me and said he was gonna screw my wife. And I would watch. Can you believe that shit? He even showed me where it was gonna happen and described what my wife would do before she met up with him. Get this, she did exactly what he said. Damn it. It was as though they scripted it all out and planned it well in advance. So here was my frigid 46-year-old wife, the woman who refused me any action at all, on his order no less, and going out commando like some teenage bitch on spring break. What the hell is that? Did I stop her? No, I didn't. Hell, I thought she'd shut him down just like she shut down everyone else, including me. But no, she went through with it. And what did I do? What real choice did I have? That moron made it clear that if I didn't go along, he'd be back to screw her morning, noon, and night till I was 90. He told me if I let it happen and watched the one time, he'd leave us alone and go home. But no, that didn't happen. He tricked me. They both tricked me. That was the first day. And from then on, he and my wife proceeded to humiliate me every chance they could get. I'm not going to lie to you, son. At first, it was a bit exciting, even though it pissed me off. I thought that maybe she might eventually give him up and open herself up to me a bit. But it never happened. And it all got old real fast. And there doesn't seem to be any end to it. Why don't you just dump the bitch? I asked. Kick her to the curb. Divorce her. And be done with it. 2 words. No fault. You know what that means. I shook my head. That basically means she gets damn near everything, the house, half of the savings, half of the retirement, and a huge chunk of my salary. In other words, she gets to live in the house I built, get half of my money, and I'd have to pay for her to live there and keep on screwing her boyfriend while I get to live in a piece of shit apartment eating pork and beans. Oh yeah, I've talked to a bunch of attorneys, and that's the way it is. At my age and in my condition, I'd never survive, he said. What do you mean? I asked. A few months after all this started, I had a heart attack. It happened during one of their sex fests that she insisted I watch. You know they wouldn't even stop screwing long enough to call the ambulance? You know what he said? If he dies, he dies. We'll just take his insurance money and travel the world. Then they laughed. What kind of a sick bitch does that? I finally crawled to the phone and managed to call 911. They didn't even stop when the paramedics came to get me. And you know what else she did? She and Sexwad took off the whole time I was in the hospital. I have no idea where they went. Not once did she even visit me in the hospital or check to see if I was okay. I went out on a limb. Why not get revenge? Burn the bitch. Find someone to screw and make her watch. He shook his head. No, son, that wouldn't be right, he told me. I took a vow before God and everyone to remain faithful to her till death do us part. Those vows mean something to me, even if they don't mean shit to her. That was a big wake-up call for me. I decided there was no way that bitch would get anything from me. I changed my will and took her out of it and changed my insurance and the beneficiary on my retirement so she wouldn't get a penny. Screw her, he said. Then, about 4 months ago, I was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor. Doc said I had maybe 6 months to a year to live. That's when I decided to put this to an end, no matter the consequences. And tonight's the night I take back my dignity. I was finding all this a bit hard to believe. He sent that, then pulled out his phone. I suspect you're thinking this can't be true. No one with a conscience would act like this, right? Maybe in the movies or on one of those fiction sites, but not in real life, he said. I had to agree. He punched a few things on his phone, took out a pair of earbuds, plugged them in, and handed me his phone. Watch this video, then tell me what you think. I put the earbuds on and hit play on his video app. I saw an attractive older woman having sex with a man whose face was hidden by her body. She appeared to be looking directly into the camera, but I realized she was looking at the face of the man holding the camera. She smiled, but her smile held no warmth. Like what you see, she asked while having sex with her partner. Your face says no, but I know you do. You love watching me get screwed, don't you? You're shaking your head no, but I know better. Don't worry, you're never touching my body ever. Oh God, that felt so good, she said as she got up. What's the matter? You're not looking too good. Are you going to have another heart attack on us? Good. Maybe it'll be the big one this time. That's okay. I'll play the part of the grieving widow to the hilt. Hell, I've been playing the part of the loving spouse all these years, so I am pretty good at fooling people. Then we'll take your insurance money and go to all the places you and I want to visit and screw each other. On your dime, she added, laughing. This time, the man under her sat up and laughed with her, wrapping his arm around her. She turned to face her lover. Come on, big guy, let's do it again. Maybe we can get him to have a stroke this time, she said. The video ended with the two lovers laughing hysterically. I was in shock, looking at the blank screen before me. I have lots of other videos just like this, Alan told me. Why is she doing this? I asked. Did you cheat on her or beat her or something? He shook his head. No, I never once cheated on her, and I've always treated her like a queen. I did ask her once, though. Check this out. He took the phone and pulled up another video. The second video showed his wife's back as he addressed her. Why are you doing this to us? To me. I heard him ask in the video. I've never cheated on you, and you have to admit I treat you very well. I just want to know why you're tearing my heart out like this. I don't understand. She sighed and turned around to face him, obviously put out by his questioning. Look, you just don't do it for me, okay? I know you've never cheated on me, and yes, you treat me very well. You're a great provider. I just need his tool, and yours doesn't excite me anymore. It hasn't for a long time, so just go along, and things will be just fine. Maybe in a few years I'll get tired of screwing him, and we can retire and laugh about it in our old age. Let me just have this. Okay. No, Mags, you may laugh, but I won't. I promise you this won't end well. At all, Alan said in the video. Damn it. Don't you even think of getting a divorce because I'll destroy you, she said. I'll take everything you have, and I'll keep right on screwing him, and you'll get to foot the bill. Got it. The video faded to black, leaving me dumbfounded. How could someone be so cruel? You have enough right here to destroy her, I said. He smiled. Now you're starting to get the idea. Yes, these videos could destroy her, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Tonight's just the beginning of their destruction, but I need help to make it happen. Will you help me, George? I was tempted but still needed one question answered. Why me? I asked. Surely you could get any number of people to help you. Alan nodded his head. You're right, I could. The truth is, George, you're the closest thing to a son I have. You see, my wife denied me children, claimed they would get in the way of her career. When I'm gone, that's it. My family tree is done. There's no children, no survivors, nothing. I am it. There's more. Let me ask you. How many C students do you know who get $1 million scholarship to an Ivy League school? He had me at that. I was a bit lazy in high school, much to my parents' chagrin, and was really surprised when I was told I got a huge scholarship from a private foundation supposedly set up to help the families of Vietnam veterans. And it was unlike any scholarship I ever heard of. Not only did it pay tuition, books, and lodging, it also gave me extra spending cash for trips, a car, whatever I needed, up to a limit, of course. Thing is, I never lacked for anything. After getting that scholarship, I promised my mother I'd focus on my studies, and so far, I have. Your father and I stayed in touch after the war. We talked, sent letters and emails. I've met your mother a few times as well. You and I have met also, but you probably don't remember since you were just a baby. When your dad was in the hospital the last time, I visited him. I promised that I would make sure his wife and son would be well taken care of. You see, his medical condition nearly wiped your family out financially, so I set up a private foundation that paid all of his medical expenses. It also set up $1 million trust for your mother and $1 million scholarship for you. I figured it was the least I could do for the man who saved my life in Vietnam. Lately, though, there are times I wish he'd have let me die over there. So I'm asking, George, will you help me do this? Will you help me reclaim some part of my dignity and my manhood? Tonight is the last you or anyone will ever see of me, so think of it as the last wish of a dying man. And I want my life, such as it is, to count for something. I thought hard about what he just said. Is there some other way? I asked. You can take this to an attorney, sue her for mental cruelty, go after her job. Something. Alan shook his head. No, George. It's too late. I am a dead man walking. In a month or so, I'll probably be in a hospital bed for the last time. And there's no way in hell I am dying like that. A shriveled-up old man. And there's no way I am putting myself in a situation where she'll have any say over my final affairs. Thanks for listening. This story isn't over yet, and things are about to get even more intense. Stay tuned for the next part to see what happens next.